Feature Neighborhood Council President Doug Epperhart. Doug?
Okay, thank you, Shannon. In recent years, neighborhood councils have become frustrated by the overregulation and micromanagement by the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. How will you work with neighborhood councils to restore their ability to provide an effective voice for their communities?
Okay, we are going to start with Council Member Kevin De Leon. Go ahead, Kevin.
Doug
Council
just,
member.
cross his hands just like this. Like, tell me what you're going to tell me. I sense that anger and that tension right there. Thank you, Doug, for the question. Listen, neighborhood councils play a vital role in the civic life of Los Angeles. In many ways for council members, and every council member is different in how they engage respectively with the neighborhood councils. I know there have been some difficulties, if you will, with DUN, the Department of our neighborhood councils, as well as the various neighborhood councils throughout the city of LA. I know that I have a very good working relationship with my neighborhood councils. I lean on them, we report back to them, they report back to us. There is a constructive, respectful relationship. I think that it is the backbone, it's citywide, a democratic backbone for transparency, for folks who are duly elected by their constituents who we share together. Similar constituents, whether you're in Pedro, whether you're in South LA, whether you're in Sherman Oaks, Encino, East LA, Westchester, Watts, we're all one city with many different neighborhoods with very unique characteristics and many different challenges, and some that are overarching, that are before us. So I work very closely, I will continue to work very closely as the chief executive of the second largest city in America. I will continue to make sure we have a robust budget as well, because I know the cutbacks have been severe. That actually impacts your ability to make sure that your voice is heard with your respective council members as well as with your mayor.
Thank you so much. Really quickly, if you're in the audience and you serve on a neighborhood council or have in the past, raise your hand. Raise your hand. Any neighborhood council members out there? Can you? So our neighborhood council system is very important. I myself serve on the neighborhood council, so please understand how important this question is to our community. I'm going to call on Mike Fuhrer next, City Attorney.
Great. Shannon, thank you. Thank you, Doug. Thanks for your service. Because when I was a city council member in the 1990s, I created neighborhood councils in my district before the charter required them, because I wanted to empower our residents to engage with each other. And I wanted to test the model because I wanted to take it citywide. And then, Doug, I introduced charter reform in the city council and fought for a charter that would require the creation of this network of neighborhood councils. I know the frustrations. I speak to the Congress member councils every year when we have these discussions. I'm going to make a specific commitment to you that's based on the concrete experience I've had with empowering communities. I personally will meet with neighborhood council leaders at the beginning of my administration to get things right and to be sure that you have the authority and the respect and the resources that you need beyond those annual Congress and neighborhood council meetings. And let's be clear, as city attorney, I'm the lawyer for the department. As mayor, I'm in charge of the department. Different roles. And I'm going to take the experience I have that goes back to the 1990s and work with you to assure that the promise of neighborhood councils that I could envision back 25 years ago is realized now. And what does that promise look like? It looks like you having a meaningful, substantive role in the outcome of issues that matter most. I know most neighborhood councils feel under-resourced, that you're not getting the respect or the resources you need to effectuate your goals in the communities. That's going to change when I'm mayor. Because Los Angeles is, at the end of the day, is a community of neighborhoods. Why am I going to all 101 neighborhoods? And by the way, where does that number come from? 99 neighborhood councils and 2 community councils in the city. I'm going to each one of them, and I'm going to come back as mayor with the general managers of the departments to each community I'm visiting and say, you raise these priorities with me as a candidate, as mayor, let's effectuate them right now. Thanks for your question, Doug. You have that commitment from me.
Thank you so much. Okay, Council Member Joe Buscaino.
Well, thank you, Doug. Doug, if you're not aware, Doug was one of the grandfathers, not grandfather, but one of the, one who started this neighborhood council movement, and I want to thank you, Doug. I know we've worked together over the years and appreciate your leadership and dedication. Let's start with changing the name Dunn, because you're not Dunn to me, okay? Also, what we have proven, again, let's talk about action. Let's talk about what we have done, no pun. We, in my district, worked on the homeless working group, which consisted of a number of neighborhood council leaders putting them at the table to address our #1 crisis in the district. And I'm proud of the work that we've done. Through their leadership, we have eliminated street camping in the district by half by saying yes to solutions. And as you know, saying yes to solutions isn't hard. And as mayor, I'm gonna continue to bring the neighborhood council leaders to City Hall as we march towards ending homelessness in the city of Los Angeles. It's gonna be no different than what we've done in this district. In addition, Doug, you're right. Countless bureaucratic red tape. There's countless and endless micromanaging taking place at City Hall as it relates to our neighborhood council members. That's gonna change under my watch. Again, doing what I've done as a council member, I will meet with neighborhood council presidents and leaders. City Hall will be welcoming and will not close its doors on our neighborhood councils.
Thank you, council member. Okay, Congressmember Bass.
Well, first of all, I think that we really need to revamp the entire process. And I guess there were a lot of us here that were involved in the origins of neighborhood councils. I was too in South LA in the 1990s. We had neighborhood councils before charter reform. And the whole purpose of it was because the neighbors in South LA felt marginalized, just like I imagine a lot of people do in San Pedro. One of the things that when you go around the city, the development and participation and involvement of neighborhood councils is really uneven. In some parts of the city, the neighborhood councils are very organized, involved, sophisticated, and in other parts, it's just a handful of people that claim they represent the neighborhoods, and actually, in a lot of times, they're at odds with the neighborhoods. And many of them find that they have to deal with the bureaucracy of City Hall. And so given that it's been many years now, I think it would be good to evaluate the entire process, evaluate neighborhood councils, see what resources they might need, the technical assistance they might need, look at done, see whether that's really been effective, because the whole purpose of neighborhood councils was really to expand democracy, to expand civic involvement, to have an opportunity for people to participate in city government. And in some areas, I think that's really true, and in other areas, it's very far from what's true. So that's what I would do. I would start with a top to bottom audit, evaluation, but the way I would evaluate is that I would go to the neighborhood councils and hear what they have to say. That's the starting point. And then look at the resources that are needed. So thank you for the question. We have a lot of work to do. I think neighborhood councils is a great concept that has still not reached what the original intent was.
Thank you, Congressmember Bass.